Bingo! Bingo! Professor, you better be good.
This man in the audience dares to have bigger sideburns than me. Right, I study creativity. What does that word conjure up in your mind?
Shite.
No, well, I'd like to think it's my PhD, so it's shite's bad. I think great creative thinkers, Da Vinci, Einstein. How about great technological accomplishments? Landing on the moon, figuring out finding the Higgs boson, figuring out as a kid how to light your own fart. Now, I think there's one creative, we've got a lot of IT people in the audience, I think there's one creative achievement which we can all agree on has changed the way we all live, and that is computers and the internet. Now, I often don't think we mark this time as much as we should, we should really celebrate it. We mark the time before Jesus came, BC, before Jesus came and saved us from our sins. I think we should have a similar acronym to describe the time before computers came, Steve Jobs came, in fact, and saved us from our modern sins. So, I think, this guy notices. I think it's important to remember that also at Christmas time, we celebrate the life of our modern deity, Steve Jobs, by lavishing vast amounts of money at the divine altar of Apple. Now, this Christmas, I was royally pissed off when I did not get an iPhone. So pissed off, in fact, for the first time in my life, I prayed. I prayed. Lord Jobs, why have you forsaken me? All my friends have iPhones. I only have HTC. I think, what could we call this time? How about Before Jobs, or BJ for short?
BJ.
It's more catchy than BC.
Excellent.
Back to the subject of creativity. So what can we do to improve our creativity? How about using analogies? So there's research to suggest that use of analogies really works. So they did a study where they had creative people sitting both inside and outside the cardboard box, solving creative problems. And you've probably heard of the term thinking outside the box. People who solve the problem outside the box more often solve creative problems rather than those who were trying to solve the problem inside the box. So the analogy works. So I kind of need to apply analogies to my own life because I have a lot of problems in one domain where I need to be very creative, and that's getting participants for research. So I thought I could apply the analogy. Maybe my problems with getting people to do research is a bit like because I use bad boy tactics to date women. It's a bit like the same thing. So, for example, I start by laying on the smooth talk. So, I'm doing a PhD in psychology, like Darren Brown, yeah? And I make sure I tell them absolutely nothing about what getting involved in me will actually entail. I make it look like I'm interested in them. So you study retail management in your degree. Wow, that's really interesting. I'd really like to speak to you more. I'm a metrosexual man. I'm down with that shit. So when in reality, I couldn't give a fuck. There's just another data point in my data sheet. So finally, I make sure that all participants never tell anyone else about my study to ensure the naivety of my participants. Now, these tactics haven't really been working of recent. So I thought I should better off listen less to my mates and more to some of my female colleagues for advice. And Gok Wan, of course. So I got the tactics of the triple A. So first A is assess. So first you cruise around the area you're looking to get participants from. So I cruise around the bar, picking off people I fancy. Next is you have to attract them. You have to have an excuse to go up to them. So I go up to them and I go, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to trip over your shoe. Would you like to take part in my psychology experiment? Now I have to get their get their attention. Now, ideally I would have Ryan Gosling for this, but in reality I only had my mate Darren. Now Darren is actually very good because he works at T-Mobile, so he has absolutely no shame in customer service. He has absolutely no shame about talking to anyone. So, right, eventually I got my tests for my study, all was good with these tactics, and I was ready to go and present my data at a conference in USA! So I went to a creativity conference in USA. Creativity conferences in USA are great places, because in creativity, everyone agrees that creativity is a good thing. We need to boost creativity in our society, right? Now, this is in complete contrast to other conferences in psychology, which is gender issues, etc. There's just bitter disputes. There's like arguments going back and forth, patronising views being bandied back and forth presenters and their audience. There's regularly a professor who just sees a PhD student he can destroy, and he just goes for it. Now, I think there's a real lack of respect at these conferences, and there's too much dissing going on. And I think that it'd be much more civilized, instead of having arguments, that academics settle their differences in a rap battle. So, I'm going to give a brief attempt to describe what this might be like. So you've got MC Postdoc, the junior academic, on your left, and MC Professor, the senior academic, on your right. MC Postdoc goes first. I know your data. I ain't seen nothing new. You gone shouting your mouth off in psych review. You can't hide from me. I know your theory. You can't get away from me. I know that you fear me. MC Professor hits back. I seen you been reading my shit in psych review. Well, I wrote that back in my postdoc in 1992. I know your CV. Where's your publications? You ain't been through no peer review. You ain't got no citations.
Awesome.
What you doing, boy? Trying to battle with me? I'm gonna rip you in front of your crew like it didn't even happen to me.
Awesome.
Okay. As you can tell, I've been rap battling myself a lot alone in my bedroom. Okay, so I'd just like to end this by wrapping up and doing one last rap. So I get my man on the DJ to hit the beat. This is a story all about how my life got turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute to sit right there. Tell you how to get a PhD in my ear. On the west side of Woking, I read in my first place. Down the lab was where I spent all of my days. Kicking, analysing, thinking I was cool. Kicked back on a breeze from my confirmation review until a couple of undergrads were up to no good. Not following the protocol like I said they should. My supervisor saw the data and got real scared and said, "You're working with a postdoc on a project to be prepared. Things are looking better by the end of the year." So my supervisor saw the data and bought me a beer. Things were not going well, so I my words, but I was going to rap like a white man. By the end of the year, things were going better. I yelled to the postdoc, "You're home, we'll smell you later." Looked at my data, I was finally there. Got my ring on the white man rapping it up.
AN-D, 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 AN-D.